I hope I find you well, guys. I'm good. I just want to talk about something today around worship. I think before I do that, I just want us to understand that for any task that we embark on or any project, I think it's very prudent of any visionary to know what the end game is, or at least to inform the workers or the people who they are working with the end game, because understanding the end game, it actually helps us even understand the little other detailed activities that we do, though they might not seemingly be attached or relevant to the end game. But when we understand the end game, then we know why we do what we are doing now. You understand? Right. So I want to talk about when we examine the life of the church and the purpose of the church, the preaching, the missions, the outreaches, the helps, and all the other things, the discipleship that we do in churches, that's great. But it's also very important that we find that they are not ends by themselves, rather they are means for a far greater and eternal end, that people might know God and worship Him. Right. That is the main goal, that people may know God and worship Him. That's why we preach. That's why we teach. That's why we disciple, that people may know God individually and worship Him. That's why we do crusades. That's why we do discipleship. That's why we do helps, that people may know God and worship Him. So that's the end game. Right. The preaching itself, the helps itself, the mission themselves, they are not the end. Right. They are just means to an ultimate end, which is important to understand. And most of the time, worship has been viewed more like a warm-up session before the sermon, or maybe just a musical segment, before the preaching of the word. But biblically speaking, worship is actually the ultimate goal, not only for the church gathering, or not only of the church gathering, but rather it is actually the ultimate goal of human existence.